Above. He and his wife Nancy and Pat and I were the closest of friends. However, this is something that certainly is deserving, certainly of Mr. Brown, but it's also deserving of the community. We also have with us tonight Mr. Brown's son. I'm going to ask him to come up here, probably right now, Jeff. I'm going to ask him to speak first. And if you will, I will have a few remarks afterwards. We could go on, all night with this, but trust me, I told Jeff that between us we'd keep it down to 15 minutes, okay? So we agreed to that, right, Jeff? And I'm sure both of us could talk for a long time about this.
Yeah, but I'll try not to. I'd like to begin by saying thank you very much for coming. It means a great deal to myself and to my family. With that, I'd like to introduce my family. First, my children, Ian Brown, Kendra Brown, Grace Brown, my mother, Beth Brown, my father's sister, Leah Bedell, and my deepest appreciation for your attendance. Next, I'd like to extend an appreciation to the board for approving kind of an unknown thing. This was a spot-of-the-moment idea that I had. And I need to extend my sincere gratitude to Ralph and Pat McNall. When Dad went into hospice, I was a hot mess, and I called Ralph and shared with him kind of what I thought would be appropriate. And tonight is kind of a culmination. You see a fine young lady getting a substantial amount to pursue that in which she chooses, that exemplifies the values that my father brought forth for over 20 years of service to this town. The only thing that I regret is I didn't think of it sooner, because I wish Dad were here tonight to see the people that he impacted and had a positive influence. The night before he died, I had an opportunity to share with him that I thought we were going to be able to do something like this. And quite simply, he was overwhelmed. Dad, among many other characteristics, was a deeply humble man. And last summer, when I spent months with him during his illness, we were talking about some things, and we were talking about Fairfax. He said, Jeff, it's been too long, I've forgotten what I've done, what I did. I said, no, Dad, you're wrong. That sign proves it. So thanks, Dad. The power of one. My father's heroes, RFK, JFK, Martin Luther King, and as he referenced in my graduation speech, 1979, people in this room, people of Fairfax, Vermont, people who get up every day, regardless of how they feel, and go to work, and take care of their family, pay their taxes, contribute to the community. And Dad took that responsibility very seriously. Those who wanted the best for their kids, he supported. Robert Frost, who was one of Dad's favorites, wrote a line, 2 roads diverged in the woods. And I took the one less traveled. And that has made all the difference. Dad did that as well. He was a very talented and intelligent and athletic individual. And there are a lot of paths he could have chosen. But he chose to serve the people he honored, the people of Fairfax, Vermont. And what an impact that he had on many families and many generations. The Woodwards, the Collins, the Bellows, the Sheds, the McNalls, Berardinellis, the Irishes, the Robards, the Corsons, the Masons, the Bordeaux, the Tooths, the McEwens, the Groscloses, the Clearys, and I could go on forever. Think of the impact that he had on the teachers that he worked with. Kevin Heber, Gary Gilbert, Wayne Davis, Carolyn Brooks, Charlie Hazen, Ernie Cotty, Jim Carter, Steve Farrar, Al Daniels. Those impacts made a difference in our lives. And not only on the teachers did he have an impact, but he had an impact on the administrators that he worked with, the staff. I can't help but think of Betty I and the relationship. And also one of his best friends, Ed McEwen. You see, his influence was not diminished or enhanced by your role, but by your character. That's what defined him. His driving forces were simple, as they often are in many great leaders. Fairness, compassion, equal opportunity, initiative, bearing. Can't you just hear him walking down the halls with his heels clicking and his keys in his pocket? Unselfishness, dependability, endurance, knowledge, judgment, enthusiasm, tact. I struggle with that word. Decisiveness, integrity, justice, loyalty, and courage. And it was all driven by one simple thing. What could he do to enhance your life? An educator at his core. And throughout the tenure of his life, he demonstrated these characteristics. And by living these values, he was able to lead a town, a school, and positively impact thousands of lives. One of the tenets by which Dad measured his life was, is my sacrifice acceptable? Is it worthy in his sight? When it's all over and done, does the good outweigh the bad? Did I pitch the best game I could, even though it was flawed, right through the bottom of the ninth? Dad's answer to that was, all I know, Jeff, is I tried. I think what we know the answer is, Dad, you succeeded. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I certainly can't add a whole lot more to that. I might add just a little human interest thing. As I think everybody knows, Dick came here, I believe, right out of Rhode Island. He was here approximately 6 years as a coach. He left Fairfax and went to Essex Junction, coached, and a year or 2 or 3 years later, he decided he'd like to get into administration, so he went back to school. He wasn't quite through that phase, and we here at Elstree Academy, Fairfax, needed a principal. We knew who we wanted. And a couple of us, back up a little bit, I was on the school board at that time, and just for your info also, I was on the board, I think 13 years, time of which I was the chair. And I don't recall if I was chair then or not, didn't that. Alvin Misha and I went down to Essex Junction where Dick and Nancy lived and talked to Dick about coming back to Fairfax. Well, you know, Dick just already pointed out, was very humble, matter of fact, and called it the way it is. He said, you know, you guys, I really appreciate you coming down. Makes me feel good, and so on. And said, I'm not qualified yet. He was close, but not right there. And he said, tell you what, Dick, will you let us take care of that part of it? And reconsider if we get that done? And I forget what the answer was. It must have been positive. Anyway, come fall, he was here. And it was soon after that, I don't remember, Lee Minor was on the board with me then, Al Ward, I believe, Rob Chad, we weren't on quite yet. But as already been mentioned quite clearly, we were tucked in the old part of the building over here. We needed to do school back. And we did not, with help of a couple of experts, but not a lot, because we had our main expert in our midst, Mr. Brown. This was a huge deal for the town of Fairfax. This gymnasium we're sitting in is much more than we were told we needed here in the town of Fairfax. We did not qualify for wooden floor, for example. Tile would be plenty good for the town of Fairfax, but a couple of us are bent on doing it right. If we're going to do it, let's do it right. So, had to go to the voters, of course, and the voters, as usual, when it came to the school with the town of Fairfax, never turned down a request, to my knowledge. Certainly not while we were there. Not once. And you watch the towns around you, and they just had one hell of a time, excuse me. But Fairfax was never that way. So, with a positive vote, this school came to be. Dick Brown's on board here. Some of the building was built in severe weather, which wasn't smart probably, but that's the way it came out. We were having a school board meeting one night, you were there, Al, and this mini tornado went through, and all of a sudden there was nobody in the building, including the school board members. They wouldn't go. I came back a little while later. Dick was around the building here, and the child superintendent as well. They were up on the roof. The principal of the school was up on the roof with the job superintendent surveying the damage. Dick was one of those guys that was principal 24/7, 365 days a year. And I'm going on much too long game, apologize for that. But there's a few people I want to recognize in particular here tonight that have helped pull this thing off. I'm going to start certainly with the school board. Pat and I did visit them one night, and man, there was nothing but cooperation. I was overwhelmed, as a matter of fact. And you know, not one of them knew Pat and I don't believe. They might have known Pat a little bit because she spent more time in town than I do. But it's been that way all the way through. Principal Mike Clark, sitting over here tonight, has been extremely cooperative. Superintendent Ned Kirsch, he'd be here tonight, but he had family issues. Athletic Director Jerry Whittlike, I think most of you know where she is tonight, down there winning a ball game for us as we speak. And Guidance Director Beth Cole, all of these people have been just great. And as I said again, you know, I don't think any of them know or knew Dick Brown the way we did. But they had faith and belief in what we're doing. So then, more locally here, part of the group, I don't like the word committee, the group that helped assemble this whole thing with Jeff's help by phone, if you will, Lynn Bardnelli, Al Daniel, Rod Chad, Gary Gilbert, they've always been great, made our job very easy. So, with that, I think I'll stop down here. We have a plaque up here. I'd like to have everybody get a good look at it, feel it, touch it. The signage is already up, so as you walk out the door, turn around and look back. That looks good to us at least. And this plaque will go up just to the left of the door as you face it coming in. Some of the paraphernalia on the wall right now is coming down, as I understand. They're going to redo the wall, and the plaque will go up right in the middle of that about head high. So with that, I might read what's on the plaque. It's very simple. Richard A. Brown, Howard 1. You've heard that before. Teacher, coach, principal, mentor, and friend. We tried to keep that simple too. We've done all of this with Dick in mind. You know, he was a very efficient person, didn't waste a lot of words, didn't waste a lot of time, and he didn't waste a lot of money either on their behalf. So with that, once again, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I hope you're as proud as I am of this whole effort. And as Jeff said, I kick myself too, Jeff, for not doing this 2 or 3 years ago. It's just unnecessary and uncalled for. That's where we go. And I don't know why we aren't the only ones that do that either. There's any satisfaction in that. But again, in closing, I can't thank you all enough. I couldn't be more proud of anything I've been part of than what we're doing here tonight. So with that, thank you, Gabe, for letting us do this. And please feel free to come up front. I'll leave this on the table. I want Dick's sister for sure to get a good look at this. Proud to have you here as well. And I can say more about it.